Welcome to Salute and Biohacking podcast. My name is Vanessa Bertinotti, and my mission is to build a tribe that shares my same passion for health optimization and biohacking by bringing to the table experts and people who inspire me. All the information contained in this podcast is purely informative and does not replace medical or therapeutic consultancy. On this episode, I'm super excited to welcome Pierre-Edouard Sottas. Pierre-Edouard has a PhD and is the founder and CEO of xLongevity. With expertise in physics, biology, life science, and AI, Pierre-Edouard focuses on improving biomarker testing for accurate measurements and meaningful insight. One of his key achievements is developing the biological passport, which helps people understand their personal biological data. He has leadership role in multiple startups, all aimed at promoting healthier lives. As a dedicated biohacker, Pierre-Edouard continually explore ways to enhance personal well-being, believing that true longevity means living a fuller, healthier life. For my community, xLongevity.com is offering a discount code. Just add on xLongevity.com and use the code SALUTE to get 10% off on all their supplements. You'll find the link and the coupon code in the show notes of this episode. Pierre-Edouard, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Vanessa. Really my pleasure. Yeah.
So I'm thrilled to have you here. So today we will discuss on many different topics. Can you tell us, before we dive in today's topic, about your journey and how you got interested into biohacking?
Yes, biohacking. I think that's I started very early, and I would even say at the beginning of the 90s, really long time biohacker. But at that time was not called biohacking, but always interested actually to first to help other people to take control of their health, to help people to live healthier, better, and now longer with all the new improvement that we have in the field of longevity. But I'm someone who was actually trying to do that by myself. I did many things wrong back in the 90s because I think based on wrong science. And I think there's really one field that actually changed so much. It's the field of nutrition, for example, that was based on wrong assumptions. And I was doing things wrong. I was even taking bananas before running a marathon, things like this, because I was told so, and I was completely wrong. And now, for sure, it's something that I do avoid. So yes, a really long journey in the field of biohacking, and since after I graduated, that's now 25 years ago, I dedicated all my life really to help people live healthier, longer. Yeah.
And what's your definition of health? I like to ask that question because, many of us has different point of view about health.
Yeah. And yes, for me, for the health is strongly related to the name, to the other words of vitality. That's just to feel good, to feel full of energy, and just to enjoy life. And that's why also I've been quite criticized quite a lot of the medical system right now, which is mostly based on reactive medicine, mostly actually to remove symptoms, but not tackle the root causes of any diseases. And that's for me, health is just to really to feel good. And since when I feel of longevity again, it's way more about health span to prevent diseases within the field of prevention, preventative medicine, and not actually to cure any diseases. Yeah.
Great. And what's the term biohacking means to you?
Yeah, biohacking. Again, that's something that as a part of this biohacking community that I love so much, because people believe that, okay, when talking about biohacking, it's something a bit self-centered, a bit selfish, but it's completely the other around. When we are together, we really actually enjoy the community aspect and to share things, how we can help others. And it's really the opposite of to be self-centered. And that's why I love also this community so much. Now, the name biohacking itself,
Mm-hmm.
I remember because when this name came, I say, "Wow, it's a community." I was really taking care of myself and of the others, and I was a bit afraid by that word. And frankly, I think that's it's better now actually to biohack. What does it mean? A biohack itself is that okay, find tricks that will help better to people to feel actually better here. I don't think that's the word that we should use. I'm a big fan of the word longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Again, longevity not actually to live actually longer, but
Mm-hmm.
to live better, healthier here, rather than this field biohack for me, which is again more about what we do and not what we actually try to want actually to achieve. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. And why everybody should become the expert of their own health?
Yeah, we always say that's okay. Be the CEO of your own health, and that's it's we're also moving this field. There's huge paradigm shift that I see in the field of healthcare. Again, I started this journey back in the '90s, and there was a lot of I would say hope in the field of medicine. I was working in the field of genetics and working with some really amazing people. My mentor got a Nobel Prize in when I did my master in biology. And we were laughing at that time, saying that that genetics can cure cancer. No, it can't. And then there was back in the 2000 there was this idea of personalized medicine, but
Mm-hmm.
it really didn't help. And it's really these actually decade that I believe the field of healthcare is really changing. And coming back to your question is that we are moving to more preventative medicine and more really about empowering and really giving the power to the people to take control of their health. So simple things that they can do in a day and so on, and to rely less actually on treatments, but
Mm-hmm.
way more actually on again on prevention. Yeah.
And what are some of the most promising development you've come across in longevity science recently?
Yeah, that's okay. There's this famous now 12 hallmarks of aging, and for sure, everything associated to mitochondrial function is only one. But this one, I think, is particular. I think important compared to the others because others, yes, we're talking about telomeres, things like this. But okay, let's discuss that. Will be 120. I hear about also stem cell. I would say exhaustion. That's something that we can discuss. Hopefully, if we're still in great health in 120. So that's definitely for me. That's I think that's should be prioritized when actually we are living the life. We still to start the effect of aging. Mitochondrial function is one of those, and there are lots of great actually science that has came this last I would say 10, 20 years on mitochondrial function. I can mention for sure NAD plus, and I'm really a big fan of actually how to improve NAD plus, not only by I would say external means or by supplementation, but also naturally. How we can play, for example, of NMPT, this famous enzyme that helps actually to maintain healthy level of NAD. NAD plus is involved in 7 hallmarks of aging, and that's the only molecule that I know that has this capacity to be, I would say, so powerful. Again, that we look at the biology. That's the we see that we have some big molecule called proteins that have very specific functions, and usually it's one molecule, one function. NAD plus, which is a bit crazy, is that this is a middle-sized, even pretty small molecule, but it's so big, I would say, impact on health, on mitochondrial function and energy, but not only energy, that the same molecule that is responsible, or at least the limiting factor in the activations of these famous sirtuins for DNA repair,
Yeah.
that's also the same molecule that is activated in many metabolisms. And for example, just about the two enzymes responsible for alcohol metabolism. That's again NAD plus. So why? I would say from a biological standpoint, on the biological evolution standpoint, so much has been done on a single molecule like NAD plus. So I'm amazed by that. And now coming back again to your initial question, is that this is one thing that's helped a lot the understanding of this pathway.
Mm-hmm.
But there are many others, for
Mm-hmm.
sure, of longevity, mTOR, there are many
Mm-hmm.
others.
Great. Yeah, you spoke about the NAD plus. How does NAD plus play a role in aging and health optimization? Maybe you can go more in details about
Yes,
NAD.
and I always say that I'm a bit so lucky here because that's now it's 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We developed one of the very first tests to measure NAD plus into the cells intracellularly when I was working for BioStocks.
Mm-hmm.
And really proud of that test, by the way, because here we're really measuring directly native NAD plus, because the main challenge of NAD plus, because it's so active, it's also reactive, it's so unstable.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you try to get to access to NAD plus in cells, in blood, here it's extremely unstable. And we were able to develop means really to stabilize NAD plus so we can measure NAD plus rapidly. So we collected a lot of information on NAD plus here. And yes, hopefully we've been actually to get some great insight. Just something that was not known. That's how much does NAD plus decrease with aging. There were not a lot of good science at that time. Now we know that when it's already started when we're 20 years old and can decrease by about 30% between 20 and 30 years old, and then we still see a decrease. Now this decrease is truly associated to aging, or is this associated more actually to a kind of decrease in the metabolism, or I would say mitochondria have a function a bit less, maybe less effective? The more actually I study this field, the more I believe that NAD plus is less a biomarker for aging, but way more a biomarker of metabolism and of mitochondrial function. Yes,
Mm.
because we do see actually young people, I would say unhealthy, maybe obese. That's very low level of NAD plus into the cells
Mm-hmm.
here. So we're now again back to the function of NAD plus.
Mm-hmm.
Amazed by what this molecule can do. Again, single molecule that's involved in so many directly, not indirectly, but directly into these hallmarks of aging. And that's, yes, not only actually providing energy to our mitochondria, to the cell for the production of ATP, but also responsible to activate sirtuins for DNA repair, and again, involved in many uh,
Mm-hmm.
metabolic pathways. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, yeah, we will talk about supplementing maybe later, a bit later. And why is personalized health monitoring becoming increasingly important in this field?
Yeah, that's when I did develop the biological passport. The key concept was this concept of personalization, and
Mhm.
it was not personalization. Sure, one application of biology is in the field of clinical trials. It has
Mhm.
biomarkers of safety, efficacy. That's how you can personalize the signal as part of a clinical trial. For sure, the pharmaceutical industry was very happy with these kind of tools because at the end they were able to decrease the number of patients enrolled in the clinical trial here. It's because the iron, this idea of personalized, not actually to compare ourselves to others, but to compare ourselves to find a baseline. Okay, but not the question of what means a good baseline.
Yeah.
And typically say, oh, when I'm healthy, when I'm 20 years old, I'm healthy. So let's use that as a baseline and move from that. And yes, there are tools that have been developed, a lot based by the way, on called Bayesian inference. And
Mhm.
that's the way that how you get information, prior information on something here on our body. And from that, actually, we try to move over time and try to make the best decision. This is this idea of personalization. And I do believe that it's extremely, even more important in the field of longevity, because by definition, we're looking at changes over time. That's
Mhm.
how we change over time. Aging is something that's happened over time. Sure, we're talking about not changes in days, we're talking changes actually in years.
Mhm.
But as well here, when taking changes in years, I'm really also pretty amazed by how flexible, adaptive is our body when we do, for example, biological age tests. When talking about DNA methylation tests or other type of biological age tests, how flexible it is. my expertise is that I've been able to decrease my biological age, and I would this does really great accuracy significantly. But then I was also able, actually, because of the stress, I was traveling a lot, actually, this last year. And this last year, for example, I lost 11 years in my biological age.
Wow.
And this means that, okay, that shows extremely high flexibility in our body to move from one direction to the next. So again, this idea of personalization for me is really critical. It's not only actually to personalize the treatments or what we can maybe companion diagnostics. Okay, for example, I take some NMN, a precursor of NAD, and to measure my NAD plus. But for it's in much deeper than that. It's really about the personalization of the biological signal itself. And here I would take an example that's it's pretty well known, because most people that you see your medical doctor, you do a checkup, you do a full blood count, you have your hemoglobin. So I use hemoglobin as an example. But if we
Mm-hmm.
measure hemoglobin now, and if you measure hemoglobin 1 year, it's extremely likely that these values will remain extremely stable. Now you take a room, you take 20 people, there's been the variability between the difference in hemoglobin between all these people is actually pretty high. Just for example, because of gender, women has 1.6 gram per deciliter less hemoglobin than men. And here that's we are starting this field what's called stratification here according to one aspect, which is actually one of the first step of personalization. But
Mm-hmm.
if you take this 100 person in a room, or yes, let's say 100,
Mm-hmm.
and you measure now, there's really high inter-individual variations in what you do measure. Hemoglobin as an example. But then 1 year later, these people meet again and you measure them, it's very likely actually that most, if not all, have similar values. What does it mean? That means the variation over time for biomarker like hemoglobin is way, way lower than the variation from one individual to the next. And this is really key to understand then this concept of personalization. And here, why should I be compared actually to reference range for hemoglobin, we'll say between 12 and 17, when my value is 15.4 and once 15.12, actually it's significantly lower. It's a signal here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, something happened in my body here, and I can see this signal. And that's why now, actually, this idea of hyperpersonalization is key. And yes, hopefully there's so many wearables, watches, rings, blood tests. That's my field of expertise that help actually to personalize, yes, the signal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sounds great. And what methods are most effective for this? For yeah,
You mean methods to follow
yeah,
actually for
yeah,
this personalization?
yeah.
Again, for me, that's really great. Is that all this tracking?
Mm-hmm.
Is really the idea to track over time, monitor over time.
Okay.
It's not on a single measurement that is key here. So that you are looking for signal here. For example, when I do a really high intensity exercise,
Mm-hmm.
I can, for example, this famous 4x4 type of exercise, really high intensity. I do know that the night that will follow, my heart rate will decrease by about 10, and I know my sleep will be affected. That's a signal. That's a signal here. And this is kind of things that you can actually give you a lot of information. I'm really a big fan, for example, of the blood glucose monitor, the CGM,
Mm-hmm.
continuous glucose monitor, the CGMs, that
Mm-hmm.
really monitor over time, give you really a lot of information. You have a baseline, actually what you are, and you eat something, and you see actually how you do react. Sorry, and that means that it gives a lot of information what you have to do. I do some tests sometimes. I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting to promote
Mm-hmm.
autophagy.
Yeah.
And sometimes after a fast, let's say 6 hours, okay, crazy things, something I don't recommend. Okay, I take not an orange juice that you can see a medical doctor, but banana. And my peak, it's just crazy and crazy. But then I think, oh, if I take, for example, vinegar right before, or I take berberine right before, we're known actually to have an impact.
Yeah.
What's how in my body it does. And this is all these kind of small tricks you can do, you can play. It's really a game. You can play, you can learn a lot about you, and actually you have behind this idea of hyper personalization. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what is the core mission of xLongevity, and how do you aim to achieve it? Actually.
Yeah. Okay, again, the core mission is really about what I've tried to do all my life, help people live healthier,
Mhm,
longer.
mhm,
But the way to actually, because, okay, that's a great goal, really ambitious goal, but now to do it. And I always say that, okay, we have supplements, we are not a supplement company. We have a telecoaching platform, we're not a coaching company. We do have work with centers, I will say more about that, but okay, we are not people, we're not a company that prevent interventions.
mhm,
We have tests, we provide tests here, but we are not, as I was in my previous company, we're a testing company. xLongevity is really about holistic approach to longevity and really actually have all components necessary that we come with a package that actually helps someone to actually enter this field of longevity. And for sure, we have an app that helps people actually then to take control of their health. Now, the way that we do, and here's more my business ads that I think that's okay, great. That's great to do that, but there's a huge challenge that's in the field of longevity and many others. This idea of scalability
mhm,
is that how you can help people and the large number of people, and that to scale. And there are some, I would say, direct to consumer companies, for example, supplements company that sell direct to consumer on one hand, or there's also some lab tests here. It's more direct to consumer. My previous company, Biostocks, was doing that.
mhm,
Uh, or you have, I would say, the other means, which is completely, I would say, business to business and helping actually some type of business to enter the field of longevity. There are network of clinics or network of longevity hubs that are existing. For xLongevity, the approach that we do, we are building a large network and pretty successful at that to help, I would say, any type of wellness centers, clinics, spa to enter this field of longevity. So we come with a package and all the clients, patients, actually very easily can enter this field, yes, of
mhm.
longevity.
And you are like promoting worldwide, or did you focus first on some markets?
Yes, we are a global company
Mhm,
here. Well, okay, here in Switzerland. The company's the headquarters are here in Switzerland. But yes, we're a global company and we're expanding globally for sure. There are some areas that have a much higher growth.
mhm,
India is one of those. There's really huge potential in India right now, not only because the prevalence of diseases is high,
mhm,
because also culturally there is strong interest for people to take control of their health by themselves. Along actually, I would say culture of yoga, Ayurveda, I would say of plant medicine,
mhm,
and they are really looking now actually for having more tech, I would say high tech solution that we
mhm,
can as we provide with xLongevity. Otherwise, for sure, Europe, especially Europe, is really strong, I would say, in the field of wellness, healthcare, based on tourism. A lot of people do travel for retreats, actually do a 1 week retreats to take
mhm,
control of the health, to feel better. So they mix actually vacation with something based on health. And
mhm.
there's also one area that yes, we are developing rapidly. Yeah.
Mhm. Great. And we have a friend in common, so Dr. Guénolé Addor, that was on this podcast a few months ago. Guénolé joined you on xLongevity, becoming the chief medical doctor. How this collaboration has started, actually.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have Guénolé on board and so proud because yes, I met Guénolé a few years ago and as biohackers actually, and we're speaking the same language here, and we're the same vision. That's how I would say that's based on all the knowledge that we have as scientists, the thing that we apply in ourselves, but to actually transmit this information and really actually translate good science into good practice. And
Mhm.
this is something that we completely aligned with Guénolé. Now, clearly something different is Guénolé is way, way, way actually knowledgeable than I am actually in this field of longevity. And as I'm always amazed by someone who is a medical doctor that's been actually so open-minded to enter so deep in the understanding of the biology.
Mhm.
And there is really actually someone has so much knowledge it's really impressive. And here, what we put in place really actually how to best transmit all this knowledge so that at the end, that's all the clients of longevity that can benefit from that. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And how does xLongevity integrate the personalized health strategy into its platform, actually?
Yes, they are for sure test, monitor, as I said. So we are coming with some new tests and quite some sophisticated one. For sure, we have biological age tests. We have even, I would say, one new test that will come on the market this month, still so September worldwide. It's when you for my previous company, we'll measure, for example, omega fatty acids, and here we'll measure, for example, C15, C17. And I'm a big fan of these two fatty acids, just one example. Otherwise, yes, we do propose also the NAD test from Biostarks, actually trying to propose that globally. Because the beauty of the test from Biostarks is just from a single finger prick, and you just actually prick your finger, a few drops of blood, the specific device, you click it, you mail it. Everything is extremely easy, and the beauty is that this kind of disease can cross the borders because this is dry blood, and dry blood can cross borders, and this means that you can actually have labs in specific areas, and for example, one in Europe, one in the States, one in Asia, and you don't have actually to have wet blood that cannot cross the borders. You really have a specific authorization because wet blood can be infectious, something that dry blood cannot. So now that's the idea with longevity is really this idea of personalization and proposing tests. Yes, and yes, we're also coming, as I mentioned, with CGMs and trying a bit to disrupt this market of CGMs because not only for people who have diabetes, and but also for the one that really to get more insight on their body and to come at a CGM with a lower price. Yeah.
And how often do you make this test, NAD plus test, usually?
For NAD plus,
Yeah.
okay, that's the that I personally do not remember more than two. So
Okay.
it's pretty okay. First, you have to know where you stand. So you do the test. You do the test, and then okay, if you are good, don't change anything. You are good. You are good levels. And what you do see, by the way, is mostly in fit people and with, I would say, excellent metabolic flexibility, less associated to aging. Again, importantly, less associated to aging. There's more inter-individual variations actually in a decade that over age, which actually strong actually evidence that these biomarkers more associated on metabolic function and mitochondrial function than aging itself. And then if it is low, something that we still see in many people, okay, you can start a treatment, interventions, start with lifestyle. Always say, actually, don't start with supplements if you don't have the basics right. Okay, about exercise, about nutrition, about good sleep. Here you can already actually some good level of NAD, even cold bath. A cold bath, actually, exposure to colds does improve NMPT. It does have a great impact actually on NAD. And then only you can start actually to supplement. And I'm a big fan of NMN as a supplement to increase NAD levels. Yeah.
Great. And can you describe some of the key technologies and intervention that xLongevity offers? So you have mentioned already some of them.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's the intervention. We don't operate clinic centers, but we work with partners.
Okay.
And yes, we have done actually to propose this intervention. We have a list now, I think, of 16 interventions. And here, what are we talking about? We're talking about photobiomodulation,
Okay.
or I would say red light therapy for people who don't know. But photobiomodulation is a bit more.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm amazed that actually when you look at the curve of the wavelength for light, actually that with the peak that exists in the near infrared. And the near infrared is typically between 800 and 1000 nanometers. And that's this one also that's been shown to activate our mitochondria. I don't think this by chance. And also, I don't think this by chance that most wild animals actually actually live mostly in the morning when there's the
Yeah.
sunrise, and then again in the sunset. I personally believe there's a strong impact of light on that
Mhm.
because they're exactly the same wavelength that do appear. Now, by the way, when I saw about biohack, sure, talk about exercise, but for me, 5-10 minutes in the morning, exposing actually to sunshine is one of the best biohack that we
Yeah,
may have.
for sure.
So now, whether people don't want to go to the sunrise, yes, they can be exposed to a red light panel. So one kind of institution we have. We also what's called a PMF mat, which is also a great technology. We have for sure IVs. We have therapeutic plasma exchange that we want to implement. Not yet something that we are
Mhm.
developing in combinations. Yes, with more sophisticated approach like exosome treatments, or even actually what we call cell-free therapy. We work with a great partner located in UK, which is actually you collect blood on you extract your stem cells, and from these stem cells in cell lines, you do produce extracellular vesicles that can reinject. So it's not stem cells, it's not exosomes, but I think it's way more potent. And here, and the good news is much less safety issues because it's your own cells
Yeah.
that produce your own extracellular vesicles to reinject. And we have great, actually, cases on that. And
Mhm.
by the way, yes, we are running a clinical trial with this partner in between UK and Switzerland. That's why this kind of technologies that we're developing and proposing. Otherwise, yes, cryotherapy, HBOT, all I would say the infrared sauna, cold plunge, all these kind of things. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And how does xLongevity utilize biomarkers to assess and improve individual health span? Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, beyond there's already this idea of biological passport, of
Hmm.
personalization. And I use the example of a measurement of NAD plus when you
Okay.
take NMN. I'm a really big fan of what we call companion diagnostics. This means that for every intervention you do, you like to measure something.
Hmm.
The measurement, for example, is how you feel and how you feel. Personally, I'm very big fan, and that we have one type of intervention that we call recovery relaxation. You lie on a PMF mat, and on top you have your photoaccumulation, the red light panel, and you stay about 30 minutes. For me, so I have a release of my stress. I feel really good right after, and these feelings of you cannot measure is really great. But I still do measure my HRV,
Yeah.
heart rate variability, and yes, when I do this kind of treatment, typically it
This
is
is,
it is it is boosted. That's just an example of another companion diagnostic associated to one intervention. Now, for every type of supplements interventions, it would be great to have one biomarker, one companion diagnostic, something you measure, help you to monitor things. For example, we have a supplement called GlyNAC, glycine acetate, which the main goal is to increase glutathione. It's very difficult to measure glutathione. Most tests of glutathione that exist on the market are not actually reliable. We are trying to propose a new glutathione test moving forward. It's not this, but that's this kind of idea. And behind also looking at some crazy technologies, talking about okay nutrient sensing, and behind all this idea of fasting, autophagy, how it can affect also mTOR. We're talking about how rapamycin as an
yeah.
inhibitor of mTOR. But I would like to measure actually the activity mTOR or the inhibition of mTOR. These tests are not exist yet, are not available to the public. And so the long-term goal is really then to propose this kind of test. Yeah.
And how has your background in scientific research influenced the development of xLongevity product and services?
Yeah, I would say that's my strength and my weakness because I, I graduated in physics, in biology, in AI, but at the same time, I'm not someone who is actually specialized. Guénolé said is way more actually knowledgeable than I am in the field of longevity. On the hand, it gives me actually a broad view who helps actually to I take an example, when I go to conference in physics, I'm talking about crazy things in physics, I'm not lost. I go to conference in molecular biology, I'm not lost. Even though I'm not a specialist in the field, that's That's good. But again, in the field of longevity, we rely way more on the knowledge of someone like Guénolé and how we can transmit this knowledge actually through different
Mm-hmm.
channels. We have an academy, for example, an academy that he didn't mention, because as part of the telecoaching, really about, okay, I'm Swiss, I will ensure the best quality, everything we do. For example, all the supplements, I do take them because I trust them. And we test them so many times that's for everything. And not only about the purity, but also the bioavailability. I didn't mention that we test for the bioavailability of supplements. So we go one level more than what typically our competitors are doing
Mm-hmm.
here. But that's all this transfer knowledge that we're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Now, maybe we can talk about this, those supplements. Can you elaborate on the specific benefit of each supplement offered by xLongevity and how they contribute to enhancing health and longevity? Because I know
Yeah.
that you develop like a base line right now, and then you are planning to develop others, right?
Yes, and yes, there are three in the pipeline. We have a nine now, and the goal is not to, really, again, it's not to be a supplement company,
Mm-hmm.
but really as part of the memberships that we have, really to, again, this idea of what is required for anyone to take control of their health. And I do believe that yes, supplements do help. I'm a big fan of supplements, but it's not this idea of supplements again to correct a deficiency. If you want to correct a deficiency, do a nutrition step by Biostocks, give you a great insight, and then, okay, you can a great recommendation of first what type of food you have to eat to correct the deficiency. And yes, sometimes you have to use a shortcut. I always say, for example, magnesium nowadays is extremely difficult to correct the deficiency of magnesium without any supplements. So I do promote supplements in some specific case. Now, coming back to longevity, also the type of supplement we have is not to correct deficiency. We don't actually sell any kind of vitamin, but really we target specific biological pathway. I mentioned NMN. We have an NMN that we optimize in a way that to go to the size of the particles of NMN for sublingual absorption. Actually, I'm not a fan, and again, I'm a bit a lucky position because we're able to test the different type of method to improve NAD. And for example, when you take NAD orally, the bioavailability is really low. The
Mm-hmm.
bioavailability is really low. There's again large individual variation, probably associated to the microbiome. But for most people, when they take, for example, 5 pill or 500 milligram of NAD, maybe they can get 150, which is not much. Which is not much. With about 7 grams of between 7 and 9 grams of NAD into our body, and to have 150, it's a low amount compared to say all the precursors about vitamin B3, about tryptophan is low amount. So the bioavailability of a supplement is key for NMN. Okay, we optimize the bioavailability. We're not able to reach 100%, but it's around 80%. Why? Because when actually we take sublingually rapidly, there's a kind of saturations here. It's pretty well known. Something we're not, by the way, able to prove for NAD. But what we show is that it's shown is not 100% bioavailability here. But still, I think it's one of the best of the market because really improve bioavailability. 100% of our people who did both taken NM and ONM and NAD test show significant improvements of NAD plus 100%, not a single one. So clearly it works.
Mm-hmm.
Now about others, okay, I take Glynac for glutathione. I'm a big fan actually to improve glutathione level that do decrease with aging. I'm not a big fan of taking antioxidants. Here, I think that's the science behind is not strong. It can have actually even a deleterious effect here. So it's more about what's called glutathione, this master oxidant responsible to ensure this balance between oxidative stress and reductive stress. And I think there's a good reason why glutathione is a molecule that's very high concentration in our cells. It's the order of magnitude is in millimolar. That's not impressive, but it's really high. That's high. We have a lot of glutathione in our cells, and the good reason for that because it is responsible again to ensure this balance is really the gun of the key to guard to keep this balance. And okay, sure, you can do glutathione's IV. It works. It's great. You can do it. But the simple way actually to use glycine and acetylcysteine. I'm a big fan of that supplement because also glycine is very underrated amino acids. And
Yeah.
here is, I think it's the smallest amino acid. It is semi-essential. We do produce glycine way more than we are young, but when we age, we may like up to 15 gram of glycine a day, and that's a big amount.
Mm.
Otherwise, we have, for example, curcumin, but we don't have curcumin itself, and forget about turmeric. There are lots of turmeric, I would say, supplement exist on the market. That's not the active substance. That's curcuminoids, especially curcumin. That is the active substance. But here again, the bioavailability of curcumin is pretty low. It's really low, so that we have encapsulate curcumin in liposomes. So that was much better, actually, bioavailability. We have CoQ10, coenzyme Q10 also. We have same way. We have actually encapsulate CoQ10 because bioavailability of CoQ10 is low. Every time, actually, we try to maximize the bioavailability, and we have 9 products like this. We have a simple one, simple like creatine monohydrate. I'm a big fan. I think the science is pretty strong on that. Not only to build muscles, but for many other functions. Yeah.
Mhm. I have a question about NMN. Some people take NMN with TMG. Are you like pro or not fan of TMG?
Yes.
With
Okay. We don't sell any TMG. I'm more a fan of MSM, which also a donor of methyl groups.
Mhm.
Okay. The idea behind is that to prevent any kind of hypomethylation, which is really a bad thing. There's not enough methyl groups. And but I may say maybe a story. I do. By the way, the answer is yes. I think that if you take NMN, you should ensure that okay, you don't have a kind of hypomethylation. I don't know how to ensure. I would love again to have a test of my methylation status. It exists, but it's not available to the public
Okay.
here. Okay, the main way to get it is solved, I would say, through food. First thing is eggs. Eggs, I think that's, I'm not sure I'm mistaken, it's like choline. That's a great, actually, can add up to 50%. You eat 3 eggs per day. You have, I think, more than 50% of all the requirements in methyl groups. But then you have vitamin B9 and B12. But here we'll be very, very careful with that. And here, because I heard stories, even actually of biohackers who did a genetic test, found a mutation MTHFR, say, oh, I have to take large dose of B9 and B12, and unfortunately, they were taking the wrong forms of B9 and B12, and they made actually the issue, actually the problem worse. Why? Because especially with B12, with the different forms of cobalamin, the important point is take methylcobalamin. Methylcobalamin is a nice proportion in food, in your diet. But when you actually take it as a supplement, you may have other forms. There are 3 other forms that are available. But if you take in large dose these other forms, and I've seen supplements take 60 times this 6,000% of the RDA, which is crazy amount, and the wrong form, the first thing that actually the B12 come into body is to take more methyl groups, and that's actually something that we wanted actually to prevent. And here, so if you take vitamin B12, or B9, same actually with folic acid, ensure it's a methyl form of that and not the other forms because it will actually make your hypomethylation risk worse.
Mm.
Now, on the other hand, also that's some people coming back to initial question about TMG. Some people say I take 1 gram of TMG, or some people 2 grams of TMG. Here now there's the other risk. The other risk actually have too much TMG, the too much methyl groups, and hypermethylation. Again, it's a question of balance. In life, it's always a question
Yeah.
of balance, and not hypo, not hyper. And I do typically recommend 500 milligrams, ideally MSM, but TMG is good as well when you supplement with NMN. Yes.
Excellent. And for GLENAC, are you taking it in the morning or in the evening before going to bed? Because that's
Yes.
2 different
Yeah.
approaches.
Yes. That's if you want to benefit from the effect of glycine on sleep, sure, you have to take in the evening. Glycine also, it's again a wonderful amino acids. It helps for the sleep, help to relax. It decreases the temperature of our body. which is great and is the precursors of many other things in our
Yeah.
body. And that's to take it in the evening is great. Now, for convenience, sometimes I'll also take in the evening, in the morning, because it's 6 grams, which is a large scoop, and I take my creatine monohydrate. Together it, I take some collagen. So I have just 1 cup, and my sleep is pretty good. So I'm lucky with that. So that I personally take it mostly in the morning.
In the
Yes.
morning. Perfect. And how do you ensure the quality and efficacy of the supplements and tests offered by xLongevity? I think
Yeah, that
something important, right?
Yes, that's my sweet thing, and yes, we test for sure third party, but that's the basics to third party testing about
Hmm.
quality, potency. Again, think about NMN. Half of the NMN, on the market, I think this percentage hopefully decrease now. Use even some NMN that's called the alpha form and not the beta form. That's only the beta form. It's an isomer. This means that's exactly the same actually composition, just the shape of I try to simplify the shape of the molecule that is a bit different. It's called beta NMN, and that's the active form.
Hmm.
But most actually NMN producer or seller don't even test for that. We do test actually to ensure, that's really beta NMN. That's the
Hmm.
first. The second thing, actually, we go even one step further because we test directly in the effect of the body. We do provide the companion diagnostics. So, in some sense, you say, I don't want to kill my business. I'm sure I have to get the right product, because if we give a product to someone and test on the body, show does not work, they will not buy our product anymore. So, we are forced actually to have the best product on the market.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, another question about resveratrol, because there are many fans of resveratrol. I'm not taking it, but it's just my view. Are you a fan of resveratrol?
Yeah, that's okay. This, okay, as you probably know, this is very controversial because what happened about now 15 years ago, I think,
Yeah.
about especially one study, and it was a decision whether should we propose resveratrol as an activator of sirtuin or other benefits, and finally I take the decision. Yes, actually, we do propose resveratrol.
Okay.
And it's really based on, I say, a deep, actually, going dig into the science. I know it's controversial. A lot of science do not actually share my view on that. And again, for me, that's business-wise, it's not. Resveratrol is not something that is really interesting for us. Again, as part of the global holistic view,
Yeah.
we do propose actually liposomal resveratrol, by the way, which is key. Which is key, liposomal. Because again, even you take resveratrol in oil or in Greek yogurt in the morning, something, you can slightly increase the viability maybe from 1% to 5%, but not more. With liposomal, it's 10 times higher, 20 times higher. It's a completely different world. And
Hmm.
here, that's also, that's, I mean, some bias in some studies that give resveratrol to people. Oh, there's no effect, and so on, because they were not, I would say, careful enough to look at the bioavailability. So now, based on the science, actually go deep into the science, yes, we do propose liposomal resveratrol as an activator and sirtuins and other benefits. Yes.
But you don't have it in your supplements, right? Or yeah.
Uh, yes, it is. It is available.
Ah,
It's maybe okay because we are a global company, and sure we have to comply with all, I would say, legislation regulations. We got to supplements, and they differ from one country to the next.
okay.
So some supplements may not be available, I would say, in every country. But resveratrol actually, if not today, will be available to in every country really soon. Yeah,
Excellent.
liposomal form. Yes.
And can you share some success stories or case studies from clients or partners who have used xLongevity services?
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's, and the thing is that yes, many are coming, which is great. I've someone recently. This person had a burnout, completely burnout, and after burnout with 4 years, this person was saying that kind of brain fog, and here, and really bit anxiety, depression, low energy, and also clearly about metabolism that's going badly, probably bad mitochondrial function. And just in 1 month, actually, we were able actually to help that person. This person really
Ah,
write really kind words to us. That's one story here.
mhm,
And I have others, simply again, very recent one about creatine monohydrate.
mhm,
Uh, was saying just about okay, better recovery at the gym, something like this.
mhm.
Uh, here, yeah,
Are
it's
you,
always so good actually to have to get to receive these feedbacks. Yeah.
mhm. And have you some clients that are like professional athletes or is not into your target really?
Yeah, that's not, I would say, our targets. We do have professional athletes as part of our clients, but it's not our targets. We are, again, we really want actually to make everyone to benefit. Now,
Mhm,
it's I would say something interesting that I learned, especially also about the time I do spend in the field of sport and the biological passport became the athlete's biological passport for the
mhm.
monitoring of all world elite athletes.
Yeah.
I did learn quite a lot about the physiology of the athletes, and since I'm biohacker, I was amazed because the pathway and at the end the methods, if you like, actually to reach peak performance or to want to reach longevity, they are the same, and they're close to no exception to that, which is for me amazing. Also, the way to train about okay, not to train in the middle, but to train is zone one, zone two, and then still to train once a week in zone five. These
Mhm.
kind of things. That's the same thing that's good for longevity and also for the athletes to train. It's just one example, but I have many examples like this. Yeah.
Mhm. And as a biohacker yourself, what are some personal longevity practice you follow?
Yeah, that's again. That's I have an alarm clock to go to bed, not an alarm clock to wake up in the morning. So
Mhm.
that's for me. It's key. Trying actually to be exposed to the sun in the morning. Yes, I'm very lucky because I come from a family when we were exposed to good food. So for me, good food is natural. I do love, I
Mhm.
would say, whole foods, close, I would say, to Mediterranean diet. Lucky me for that. Yes, okay, okay. The type of exercise, yes, not much, I would say, endurance exercise. Here, I don't even promote, especially as more as we age, because I give the stress it gives, especially in the hormonal profile, especially in women. I'm more actually promoting, let's say, 45 minutes, 1 hour, zone one, zone two, per day, which is the longest that we have to do, by the way, as any biohacking or longevity practice. Twice a week, maybe the most important things is that muscles, actually, and to gain muscles. I would say 20, 25 minutes in the gym, lift as heavy as we can. This idea muscle failure is a concept that I do love so much for glycogen depletion. It's so efficient, way, way more efficient actually when we lift heavy weights than we go running when do endurance sports. And still once a week, I do this famous 4x4 to keep a VO2 max elevated. Yeah.
Elevated. Okay. And what do you think about band resistant training instead of because Dave Asprey was talking about that and that maybe some people are pushing too much with the weight training instead of resistant training with
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah, that's okay. That's I will speak as a biologist here. For me, as fast as you go to I would say muscle failure, the better. I always say like this. So
Okay.
I'm still a big fan, if in 30 seconds you can reach a method I go to muscle failure, regardless actually the way you do it,
Hmm.
reach muscle failure.
Hmm.
And this muscle failure is key. All again the pathway that are activated, the stress. Stress is good, by the way. Only people say it's bad. No, 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 no. It's actually the recovery from stress. If you cannot recover from stress, which is a bad thing. But stress itself is the best thing you may have to your body. And exercise. If you test yourself right after exercise, you have some levels of stress in reels that are just crazy high, which is a good thing. But then let's give your body time to recover
Hmm.
from the stress. So now back to your question is that, okay, one method or the other, for me, that's the way you train. And so it's more about actually the connection with the mind. the faster you can reach muscle failure. For me, it's really to lift as heavy as I can in 30 seconds and go very slowly. Actually, not do really rapid actually lift like this. I'm not a fan, but try to reach that level rapidly is maybe one of the best biohack in
Cool.
exercise.
And what advice would you give to someone looking to improve their health span and longevity?
Yeah, that's okay. Get the basics right. And don't buy your supplement if you don't get the basics right.
Yeah.
Or don't actually do it, I would say, intervention like therapeutic plasma exchange, exosomes, stem cells, whatever. It's very expensive one if you don't get the basics right. And I come back to the 5 pillars of longevity again: nutrition, diet, then second one is exercise, sleep, community, and mindfulness. Mindfulness also something that many actually don't know much about, especially in the Western community, way more actually, way more popular in Asia. But that's to get the basics right. Have a good diet. Now, okay, what means a good diet? And we started to discuss together today, saying, hey, maybe feels a bit controversial on what is good and what is not good here. But I think now the science gives strong evidence that, for example, very high protein diet is good. It's really good for longevity. I personally tried this maybe in the main difficult thing that I have, even for whole food, try actually not to use too much actually protein powders, but to get at least 1.5 gram per kilo of protein, which is quite a challenge here. But okay, first get the basics right, and then only yes, you can actually use actually more tech interventions. Yes.
And how do you see the future of personalized health management evolving?
Yeah, I think that's only at the very beginning. You know, there are some initiative that exist right now to what we call to decipher the complexity of human beings, and there are some really large studies thanks to what's called omics. It's mean omics that's all this technology, multiplex technologies that we don't actually measure one thing or a bit, but a large panel: genetics, genomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, and that's proteomics. There are quite a lot. And again, that's the solution will come when we're able to apply all this technology not only once, but really over time, and to look for changes. And the timing this decade is really, I would say, great, because first we have this technology to do it. Now we have the means actually to do it, I would say, financially, because the techniques are becomes actually could cost, I would say, less than 10 years ago. Also, the mindset of the people has changed. I think thanks to COVID, a lot of people want now to take control of their health. And also, again, with longevity as a main driver, all the knowledge that we have. Again, longevity, not the idea to live longer, not to add life to years, not sorry, to years to life, but to add really life to years.
Yeah.
I got it wrong this time. He will about more health span and lifespan, all the knowledge that exists now in the field of longevity, and to tackle really the root of aging, and not actually to try to even slow down aging or to actually cure the diseases associated to aging, but really tackling aging itself. And truly believe that this decade of the 2020, together with AI, okay, I forgot that one, AI will help a lot, because when you, with AI, you really need a lot of data, a lot of people, a lot of data. AI tools are available now, but what we don't get is that a lot of data are applied on a lot of people. But this is coming this decade. Yeah.
And do you have any particular message that you want to spread to our listeners?
Yeah, again, that's get the basics right. Simple things that you can do. Okay, I sometimes say, okay, take stairs, not elevators. Basic things. Early morning, see the sun.
Yeah.
Get exposed to the sun in the morning, in the evening is good for you. It's really good for you, and that's back. I would say to natural things. And here, sure, there's also financial pressure, and I would say also time pressure to eat fast, to eat bad. But I'm still amazed that Currently, we have people can spend 9, 10 hours working more for wealth and do not spend, let's say, 20, 20, 30 minutes for health.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's a question of mindset. And here, if we get the basics right, let's say 80% can be achieved with in the field of longevity by with through really basic things. And then you can go to the next level. You can take an NAD precursor. You can actually do these kind of interventions. And I'm one of these crazy scientists that yes, who believe that this decay will able to reverse aging in humans.
Wow.
And that's a really strong claim, by the way. It's not about, again, that just decreasing biological age, let's say by 10 years. That we can already do. It's actually even pretty easy. I was amazed how easy it is. If we want, with these mindsets to do it, you can actually decrease your biological
Yeah.
age pretty easily. But even functionally, and that's a key difference, functionally, I believe that yes, we'll be able to reverse aging during this decade. Yeah.
Amazing. So thank you very much, Pierre-Edouard, for this talk. Was like amazing to see your also insight and wisdom, and hope to see you soon. I will leave all your references and the link in the show notes. And
And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Vanessa. Yes, next time we meet, let's have a cold bath and either in your lake or in my lake here, and
yeah, for sure. So
together as biohackers.
thank you
Yes.
very much, and hope your project will like take the rockets and go very far.
Yeah, for the benefit of all people. Okay, thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you. Ciao.
okay, bye. Ciao.